In this video, we're going to talk about direct labor and factory overhead. Both of these are considerably quicker than our production budget and our direct materials budget, so we're going to do them all in one video so you don't have to keep stopping and starting. All right, both of these budgets are going to start with our budgeted production units, which means that we have to have completed our production budget before we can start direct labor and factory overhead. So let's do direct labor. So we need our budgeted production units, which is 9,700 for April, 9,900 for May, and 10,400 for June. All right, then we're going to multiply by the direct labor required for each unit. This should be direct labor hours. So I'm going to go back. I've got my product cost here in row 7, so I know the total is going to be $11.50 per unit, but the direct labor part is going to be a quarter of an hour per unit, and we have a rate of $15 per hour. So we're going to split those up. So first we're going to do the quarter of hour, so 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. Okay. So in order to get the number of direct labor hours that we're going to need to schedule each month, we're going to multiply our production units, our budgeted production units, times the number of hours that we need to produce a single unit, which is 0.25. So in April, we're going to have to schedule 2,425 hours of labor. So this is going to be good to have both the production manager and maybe someone from HR involved in this, whoever does our scheduling, because they need to know how much to schedule. Also, if we don't have enough people to schedule that many hours, that means we need to go higher. If that is not nearly enough hours for all of our employees, we may need to do some sort of a reduction, right? So the budget is going to inform our decisions because now we have a pretty good idea of how many hours of labor we need to schedule. All right, so I'm just going to copy this over. And now we know that for May, we need to schedule 2,475 hours of labor. And for June, we need to schedule 2,600 hours of labor. We said our labor cost was $15 per hour. We just got this right here, row 9. So our labor cost for April is budgeted to be the 2,425 hours times $15 an hour, which is what we pay our people, or $36,375. We're just going to go ahead and copy these formulas over. And now we know we expect in May we will spend $37,125 on labor, and in June we will spend $39,000 on labor. All right. Let's do our overhead real quick, and then we'll be done with this video. So again, we're just going to get our production units. That's where we're going to start. All right, then we need our variable factory overhead rate. So we're going to go back to our information, and it tells us right here on row 10 that our variable overhead rate is 90 cents per unit. Okay, and we got this from up here, row 7. It says the product's manufacturing cost is $11.50, including per unit costs of, and then it lists them, and right here, 90 cents per unit for variable overhead. Okay, so 0.9, 0.9, 0.9. So to determine how much variable overhead we're going to use in April, we're just going to multiply our production units times our variable cost per unit of 90 cents. And we're going to spend on variable overhead costs $8,730 in April. We copy our formula over. Then we know we'll spend $8,910 in May and $9,360 in June. All right. Then we have our budgeted fixed overhead. Now this one's a little tricky, so take some notes on this. When I go to my additional information, it tells me it's 50 cents per unit for fixed overhead. But remember, our fixed overhead costs are fixed. So if I produce 0 units and I use this rate, then you would think my fixed overhead cost would be 0. And we know that's true because those costs are fixed regardless of how many units we decide to reduce. So instead, I'm going to look here on row 12. And it tells me my fixed overhead consists entirely of $5,000 a month of depreciation expense. So I know whether I produce 0 unit, 500 units, 10,000 units, however much, it's going to be $5,000 a month. So that's what I'm going to use in my budget because I know I'm going to have expense of $5,000 per month regardless of how many units I produce. So my total overhead budget for April is going to be fixed plus variable, or $13,730. And if I copy that formula over, then I know for May, it'll be $13,910 in overhead costs, and for June, $14,360 in overhead costs. All right, in the next video, we're going to move on to the next tab and look at our selling and administrative costs. I will see you there.